Pippen than Jordan if we put it in that context. In the context of Jordan, who wanted the ball latest in games? Who was going to be greatest latest in games? Who can single-handedly dominate latest in the games? Think of Giannis. Right now, Giannis can't create his own shot off the dribble. Giannis is not a threat from three. Giannis has to take what he wants instead of what the defense gives him. When you think about a Jordan, you think about a dude who he gonna get what he wants. He gonna get to his spots. But also, I'm gonna take what you give me and I'm gonna still make you pay. Giannis isn't clutch. Jordan, however, was that clutch dude. Giannis, fourth quarter, 2019 playoffs. Not my opinion. These are simply stats. Do not shoot the messenger. 16% from three-point, Marcellus. 41 from the stripe. You know them throws that are free?
Yeah.
He's shooting 41%. So I understand where everybody is going with this right now because it is a trending matter. Giannis does have a little more Pippen to his game, which, by the way, is not an insult. It is just a little bit of a factual matter. Two-time NBA MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, well, about to be two-time NBA MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, plus MVP. I think we've only seen that with, what, Jordan and Elijah won, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not as if Giannis hasn't accomplished some great things, but within this context of champions doing championship-type things in championship-type of moments, Giannis hasn't shown himself to be that alpha.
Okay, I'm glad you first started off and prefaced everything.
Pippen a dog.
Pippen his props,
bruh.
Why is there an attachment, a stigma to Pippen's name?
As if it's negative.
Like it's negative. Even when they say Robin in a situation, I'm like, okay, y'all, be careful.
He was still a superhero.
Be careful, because Jordan never won without that Pippen. Whatever you want to say about Jordan being a dog, and he was clutch. Didn't have enough of that gas pedal without Scottie Pippen fully maturing that team. That said, I think what's happening is people are not really understanding what they're saying. What they're saying is this team is the #1 record in the East 2 years in a row. Best team in the NBA in terms of record this year. And what's going on? What's going on is what they really need is another player that is somewhere between Chris Middleton and Michael Jordan. Now we get into a different conversation because this is all falling on the shoulders of Giannis when Giannis could easily fire back at everyone, including Michael Jordan. So first, let me get to this. Giannis is what? 25 years young. Michael Jordan didn't win his first championship till he was 28 years old. Okay, everybody goes talk about college and all that. I don't want to get into that because let's talk about playoff appearances. Giannis in his 5th playoff appearance. Michael Jordan to get his to his 7th playoff appearance. So if you want to just measure track and field, my favorite sport, you can go age, youth, group by age, youth group. What were you as a 9-year-old? What were you at 11-year-old? What was your time as a 15-year-old? That lets us know your opportunity for growth. And if you look at Giannis, this is where his opportunity for growth is. I've seen this before. He is almost maxed out in the talent lane.
Okay.
He's ran that lane all the way through. And now his skill and his skill set needs to
I need an answer, though, Marcellus, because you bobbing and weaving like Ali in his prime. Is he more Jordan or Pitt?
More Jordan. It's not even close. Matter of fact, more Jordan. He might be better than Jordan at the same stage, but he doesn't have the skill set right now to make us think that he's going to advance there. And that skill set is the curse of the gifted. Talent, and he's maxed that out. That's why he's still the Greek freak. He's going to win back-to-back MVPs. It's time for him to go to one of those skill academies and get that part of his game up. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard.
CB.
So, Chris, we need you to settle this. Is Giannis more Jordan or Pippen?
Well, you went a little hard on MJ on the GOAT, Marcel.
I'm just giving you numbers.
The difference was, even though Mike was losing early, he never got taken out of his game. He always crushed guys. We've seen Giannis getting taken out of his game. But to answer your question, if I have to choose between Jordan and Pippen, he's more Scottie Pippen. Now, it's not a perfect comparison, though, and here's where the comparison falls short. Pippen was never the best player on a championship team. Giannis will essentially always be the best player on this team. I believe firmly he can be the best player on a championship team. I'm going to throw another name into the comparisons. And I know he doesn't want to be bothered because I saw his tweet. But LeBron. And LeBron obviously had more offensive skill than Giannis at this stage. But they're similar in that LeBron has always been the best player on his team, but he also needed that second guy to be a dog. that second guy to be a cold-blooded assassin who could get his own shot whenever he wanted. So if LeBron couldn't get his, Kyrie could get his. If LeBron couldn't get his, D-Wade could get his. Those are the only times LeBron won a championship, when he had a dog as his second guy. So Giannis will always be the best player on his team. But he does need a second guy like a Kyrie, like a Dwayne Wade, who can go and get it when Giannis can't get his. So he's more like LeBron.
And that's my point. That was my other point. I didn't want to shoot at Jordan, but look, everybody gets this smoke if it's just based on the numbers. Now, we understand that his greatness takes him beyond his numbers, and I get that. But stage by stage, 25-year-old versus 25-year-old, let's not do that. Here's the thing, which you pointed out, and I love the fact that you highlighted this. That's why I said he may need a little more than a Chris Middleton. And this is not a shot at Chris Middleton, but it's just a shot at, this is how you got to get it done if you're going to do it. LeBron James, like you said, Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving. That's who he rolled with to get his 3 championships. Michael Jordan rolled with Scottie Pippen. Giannis is trying to roll with Chris Middleton. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to look at Giannis and put him under the pressure cooker when maybe it's the alternative. It's the other person. Look at LeBron in L.A. LeBron came out here last year, didn't have Anthony Davis, and how that turn out? Injury or not, how that turn out? So now he brings in an Anthony Davis, which is more than a Chris Middleton. My point is, we need to get off of Giannis right now. The only thing about him he needs to improve on is his skills, his go-to moves, his go-to shot. And that is something that you actually can increase easier than you can your talent.
I gotta contend with both you and CB. CB, though, I agree with your overarching point, but Marcellus, Giannis, what we're sleeping on isn't the tangibles. He isn't alpha physically, but Giannis mentally has shown a little bit of wear to me. Remember, at any level, CB, you know this, Marcellus, you know this, Pee-wee, middle school, upper school, college, NFL, NBA, if somebody is hot, you say, bump that, I'ma check him. When Giannis didn't check Jimmy Butler, to me, game 1, when Jimmy Butler was giving buckets, I was like, this don't make sense. Okay, fast forward, game 2. Jimmy Butler, no, rock with me. Jimmy Butler, after the post game, they say, okay, Jimmy Butler, what would happen if you would have missed them 2 free throws? He said, we would have won in overtime. I'm not getting that same type of alpha mentality energy from Giannis. We talk about Jordan, we talk about Pip. Jordan wasn't alpha physically, but what was Jordan also an alpha mentally? It's still an indictment on me, Marcellus, when you're the defensive player of the year and you're not finna go check the dude that's single-handedly beating you down. That, to me, was worrisome.
Wow, aren't you from Dallas?
Facts.
And weren't you a Mavs fan before you got caught up in broadcasting?
All day.
And started,
Still am.
You know, acting like you like the Lakers and all these other big popular teams?
Michael Finley was always my GOAT.
Wasn't this the same thing we heard about Dirk forever?
But Dirk was not a defensive MVP, sir.
My
Dirk is heavy-footed.
No one got the vibes. And then all of a sudden, he showed up in that moment. And that's the thing. Like, Giannis, this whole vibe conversation, you don't need to give the vibes. And guarding Jimmy Butler may not be long-term what they needed to do. It was one game, Jimmy had 40. What did he do last night? Exactly. So the point of it is, I'm not going to get into a vibe conversation. I'm going to get into a
mentality conversation.
Well, his mentality is
I'm getting into a mentality of a killer.
Great enough that he's had 2 regular seasons back-to-back better.
Regular seasons.
Regular seasons, right. And he's growing. And Jordan at the same stage wasn't even at this phase. So what you going to say there?
CB, can you get this
Look,
man,
to Marcellus' point, we've heard the same things about Dirk. And Dirk was the best player on that championship team. But who was hitting a lot of those big shots? Jason Terry. He had that second guy that was a dog. That's my overarching point. And here's the thing, Acho. Remember, that we saw LeBron have mental challenges against Boston in 2010, against Dallas in 2011, and then he developed or it brought out the alpha that had always been in him. So you can bring it out. So I think you didn't want Giannis to just say, let me take Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler is not really that type of guy. And
but he was, CB. Like, he might not be that type of guy, like, in perpetuity, but in that acute moment, at that acute time, game 1 is 104-98. You're within reach. You just missed 2 free throws because it would have been 104-100 if I'm not mistaken. At that time, in that moment, that guy has to D him up. Like, I don't know. You know better than I. You've been around longer. You cover the sport. But based on what we've known about Jordan, whether you read it, you was there, you watched it, he would have been like, you know what? Let me check him. And we didn't get
and
that
lose
energy.
that series like he did all of them in the beginning. That's what he would have done. So get out of here, man. Come on.